Hello Pisces and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a reading for the end of January 2023 looking at your recent past, current energy, and immediate future. As you can see, I've already gone ahead and pulled the cards and clarified those. I have the overall energy I pulled the oracle cards and clarified those. I have the overall energy for the reading. We'll dive into tarot, and then I have the decks that I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Pisces, I have a feeling we're going to get deep today, so bear with me. All right, in your recent past, you have assessed the situation with the Five of Cups. Pisces, you've been dealing with a lot of emotion, and I feel like that emotion has been weighing you guys down for a while. Your recent past was a lot of reflecting on a situation, reflecting maybe on why something had to happen, or reflecting on the outcome of a situation. I'm not quite sure exactly what the reflection was, but I do see that there was a lot of reflecting and almost like, dare I say, dwelling. And I feel like that's why in your current energy you have be proud of yourself with the Hangman in reverse, because you should be very proud of yourself for how much healing you've done. Now, understand that healing isn't linear, right? If it were a straight line, everyone would do it, but it's not. It's up and down and left and right, and you eventually get to where you're trying to go, but you've got to fall and pick yourself back up, and it's more like this, to get there. There is a level of you that's still holding on to some level of resistance. Now, I say that because the overall energy for this reading is emotions and resistance. So there, in a way, there are some, I can read this in a couple of ways. But I ultimately feel like what this is your emotions tend to cause resistance for you, meaning you have a tendency to get a little bit lost in them. Trust me, I understand. And I have some advice that I can definitely present in these readings as the messages come out. But I just feel like there's a level of, yes, you've been stuck in an energy of feeling like, I don't know if it's regret or just general sadness or loss, whatever it is. There's a need to get out of the dwelling and get into the processing. And that is one of the hardest things to do on this journey. So I'll explain more about that in a little bit. Your immediate future, you have practiced gratitude with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. This is about shifting your focus from the lack to the positive in order to start to receive. Because I feel like there's been a lack of reciprocity in your life, be it in relationships or in your career, like whatever it is, I feel like it constantly feels like you're always putting out, giving out more than you're receiving. And I feel like we're going to get to the bottom of why in this reading. So let's see here. Let's start by looking at Pisces' recent past. Clarifying, assess the situation with the Five of Cups in reverse. This is for Pisces' recent past. Okay. The Judgment with the Fool in reverse. Okay. So there was a lot. Okay. Couple of messages coming through here. The Judgment card to me is being able to see past the circumstance to the center of the truth of a situation. Meaning, instead of saying, I'm at a lack or I lost something, trying to understand why you're at a lack or why a loss occurred. And I feel like you did a lot of that in your recent past. Now, I almost feel like you did it to the extent where you started tapping into some self-blame. And that's okay because, one of my favorite quotes that actually comes from this deck it's the Soul Truth Self-Awareness deck. Is a person who blames others hasn't begun their lesson. A person who blames themselves has begun their lesson. And a person who blames nobody has finished their lesson. Now, that doesn't mean that everything that happens to you is your fault. And that's where we've got to talk about the difference between fault and responsibility. 95% of our movements, choices, actions, decisions, the way that we interact with the world comes from our subconscious. Only 5% of our interaction with our environment is conscious. Now, our subconscious is built based on past habits, how we've interpreted the world and how we've perceived the world, how we've responded to it, what the thoughts that we've started to, the thoughts that we've attained since the time that we were young, what our parents told us, what society told us. That is what has built our subconscious, because our subconscious is built based on habits. Our habits, are basically how we interact with the world. Our monkey brain, I guess, if you will, how we respond. And like how we respond without thinking. And then there's that 5% of us, that conscious aspect of us, that is really important that we make sure that we're present and is always in play. Otherwise, our reactions and the way that we respond to our reality is always going to be a product of our environment and not a product of where we're trying to go. So you want to make sure that you're trying to align that 95% of you with where you're trying to go and not with where you've been. Now, I say all of that to say, manifestation is a very real concept, and we are always manifesting. Whether or not we are consciously involved in the manifestation process is a different story. So that whole aspect where you hear, well, I'm manifesting this, I'm manifesting that, well, you're actually always manifesting. Your 95% of you plays a very, very important role in how you manifest. So if you are coming from a place of, I don't deserve, I am incapable, it's not possible, if those beliefs are lying in that 95% of you, then that is going to be what manifests into your reality. So if you are feeling like you're at a lack, if you feeling like you're at a loss, then you have to look at that 95% of you and say, what needs to be reversed? What aspect of me needs to be flipped on its head? If I have a belief that says I'm not deserving, how do I start to make myself feel deserving? And I feel like that's where this resistance is coming from, is it's almost like, instead of trying to understand, now you don't want to over intellectualize, obviously, but you want to start to understand so that you can have a little bit more control over that 95% of you. But I say all of this to say that there's a new beginning available for you. There is just some inner work that needs to be done. Now, I mention those concepts in almost every single one of my readings, because that is my whole essentially intention with my readings, is to read below the surface level circumstances and dive into the subconscious and figure out where are your blocks that you might not even be consciously aware of. And so what I'm getting at is, in your recent past, you really, really focused a lot on trying to see the truth. And that's a really, really important energy to have and to be in. So I'm very proud of you guys for that. And you should be proud of yourself. Now, let's see. Let's get more energy here. This is recent past for Pisces. Okay. There's a little bit of denial going on in your recent past. With the Four of Swords here, there's a need to kind of take a look at that. Yeah, there's a perspective shift that's needed about something that happened in your past. Forgiveness is coming through, be that self-forgiveness or forgiveness of someone else. Now, oftentimes when I talk about forgiveness in my readings, I'll start to get comments, and not necessarily on this channel, but I did used to have a tarot channel in the past that I got rid of for some personal reasons. But I would talk about forgiveness, and I'd often get responses from people that said something along the lines of, they don't deserve my forgiveness. Okay, but you deserve your forgiveness, because the more that you allow yourself to hold on to, I don't want to say a grudge, but a grudge or resentment or whatever the case might be, the more that you are still allowing somebody else to have power over your life and over your emotions. And those emotions cause resistance to better things. Because here's the thing. Think of the energy in your life as a cup, and this is as much energy as you can have in your life. If you have 80% of that in alignment with where you're trying to go, but 20% of it is still holding on to some sort of resentment from the past or grudge or frustration, well, then you are still blocking 20% of your blessings from coming through. So the more that you allow your emotions to control where you're going, the more that you are essentially, again, going back to that 95% of you, becoming a product of your environment. When you want to actually be so what I was going to point at is, I actually restarted this reading over for some reason. I don't know why. I just had this, I was like 7 minutes in, and I had this overwhelming feeling that was like, you need to restart this reading. And so I did. But in your immediate future, you had be the leader, or step into being the leader. I don't remember the exact words, But the whole aspect of that message was learning that you are the leader and you are the master of your own reality. And being able to internalize that concept and truly believe that concept is going to be what creates a better reality for yourself. But the hardest part of tapping into being able to create better for yourself is understanding how you've created not so good for yourself. And that's where I get into the concept of fault versus responsibility. What has happened to you in your life, be it traumatic experiences or loss of relationships, that's not your fault. It's not your fault that things have happened that way. It is, however, your responsibility to figure out your role in them. What part of that 95% of you might have attracted negative situations to come into your life. And I feel like that might be the part that's missing that's causing this resistance. Now, please don't think that this is a negative reading or a reading that is victim blaming or anything like that. This is me helping you take back control and power of your own life so that you can say, okay, if things have happened that way because of my past thoughts and beliefs, well, that just means that I'm in charge of what things can be in my future because of my current thoughts and beliefs. All right, recent past for Pisces, but there was a little bit of denial going on, like almost like I would like to get clarity on that, but we will more in the extended, because yeah, it's funny because in your last reading, the Three of Pentacles in reverse came out in your last um in your recent past as well. And it's almost like so something fell apart in your life. Something crumbled, whether it be your life in general, your reality, the way that you lived your day to day, a job, relationships, friendships, whatever it was, something crumbled. Um, but instead of focusing, like, it's almost like dwelling. The word dwelling keeps coming through, and there's a need to let go of the need to dwell. And I get it, trust me, I get stuck on dwelling all of the time. But then you start to realize that you can dwell all day long, but it doesn't do anything for you. And there's a need to start processing. Processing and dwelling are very different, because dwelling comes from a victim mentality, and processing comes from a mentality of trying to understand. Because and at least for me, I'm not saying this is for everyone, being able to understand why something had to happen the way it does makes it a hell of a lot easier to heal it. And I feel like that's kind of what, in your current energy, you have this energy of needing to be proud of yourself for how far you've come, while also understanding that your past happened to get you here, and now you are setting yourself up for whatever it is that you're wanting to create in your life. So don't think that what you've been through and the pain that you've been through and the suffering and the frustration and the sadness, don't think it was for no reason, because it happened so that you could ultimately release a lot of the emotions you had stored in there. Because I feel like you have a tendency, Pisces, to do a little bit of repressing, but also to allow yourself to see that you have so much more power in over your reality than you currently believe. All right, current energy for Pisces, clarifying this: be proud of yourself with the Hangman in reverse. I feel like you guys are being really hard on yourself right now. The six of Wands in reverse with the Death. Yeah, it's almost like because of something that came to an end, you're lacking a lot of hope about what's to come. But what you don't understand is how much you learned, or are currently learning, or have to learn about whatever situation came to an end. Because the situation came to an end to teach you something. And it's teaching you whatever you need to know in order to have the life of your dreams. It's almost like they had to fall apart to fall back together. And you might not be able to see that right now because the bigger picture is so far out of reach for you. But I can see it. I can see the bigger picture. I can understand how this is all fitting into your reality, and how it's making things better for you, even if you don't necessarily see that yet, because you have this Ten of Swords here. So this is a very painful energy that you've been stuck in, and I feel like that energy, it's almost like it could be betrayal. It could be, yeah, like I feel betrayal, almost like you feel like someone betrayed you, like someone who promised you they wouldn't did. And I feel like that you're instead of tough love reading, you're getting stuck on the anger. And anger is a very healthy emotion. Anger can help you move on. Anger can help you move forward. But then it gets to a certain point where you start to dwell on that anger. And the more that you dwell on anger, the more that you are allowing whatever past situation happened to have control over your current environment and over your future environment. Current energy for Pisces. So you're lacking a lot of hope right now, but I just feel like if you could see the bigger picture, if you could see what I see, you would understand that you don't have there's no need for you to lack hope, because there's so much good available to you. It's just about whether or not you would like to go find it. You have the Queen of Pentacles with a Temperance. I feel like right now, so I mean, yeah, geez, Pisces, you've incurred so much loss. And so right now, your biggest hope is to just feel stable, feel grounded, and almost like just feel like you have a solid foundation underneath you. Now you do have the Temperance card, which to me is saying this energy is saying this energy that you're looking for is absolutely available to you. Now, whether or not you've tapped into it currently, I'm not so sure. This is a general reading, so take it as it resonates. But I feel like if you haven't been able to tap into that energy, what it's saying with this Temperance card is that it's going to take time, but it doesn't have to be a painful process to get there. It's almost like that question, like, well, what if it were easy? If our belief system dictates our reality, and our belief system is this is going to be painful, this is going to be difficult, I have to hurt, I have to suffer, then that is what you're going to experience. But if you can flip that belief and say it's going to be easy for me to manifest the life of my dreams, it's going to be easy for me to have what it is that I want to have, to feel what I want to feel, well, that's what you're going to start to see. It really is all about not letting your emotions, because if there's anything I've learned on this journey, it's that your emotions do not have any bearing over your reality as long as you don't let them. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't process them. Your emotions absolutely have to be processed, but you have to process them in a way that keeps this like mindset of, I know that that everything is happening for me, not to me. And I know that everything is working out for me in the bigger picture. I just can't see it yet. And so if you're dealing with frustration or lack of hope or sadness or fear, then being able to feel those emotions, understand that they're there, but allow yourself to move forward with the mindset of things are still going to be okay. That's how you process. Dwelling on your emotions is when you feel a sadness and you start to say, I am going to be sad forever. And you dwell and you dwell and you feel it and you dwell and you dwell and you dwell and you dwell. And I feel like that's a lot about what this reading is allowing yourself to see that you should be proud of yourself for getting yourself through whatever you went through. And it's almost like that energy of understanding, if you could go through that, if you could go through this painful energy that you've been put through, if you could handle that, you can handle anything. You can get yourself through anything. How much power is in that? Really understand that there's so much power to be had in healing, and you are healing right now. And healing is not linear, and it does not happen overnight. But it doesn't have to be hard. There's a Four of Wands in reverse with a Justice in reverse. So here's the thing. You haven't received what you deserve, Pisces. You haven't received what you deserve. You deserve better than what it is that you've experienced. But the thing is, and I feel like a lot of people are not going to want to hear this, it has to do with your mindset. This Four of Wands in reverse always is, for me, this unstable foundation within you. If you're looking for a stable foundation in your external environment, you've got to look for that stable foundation within you. And right now you're missing that. You're looking for your external environment to provide you with feelings that you need to find within. You need to find the faith and the stability and the certainty within you to be able to have that reflected in your outer environment. These concepts, these spiritual concepts, are so simple, but so insanely difficult to put into practice. If you could say, so the whole thing with that 95% of you, being in charge of how you manifest your reality, if you could change your 95% of you like that, you could wake up tomorrow with the life of your dreams. But you can't do that overnight. You can't change the way you feel about the world and about yourself and about your environment overnight. You have to do it step by step while keeping the faith. Keeping the faith, Pisces. That's the biggest thing for you guys right now, because you have a lot to be proud of yourself for. And I feel like you're missing looking back and seeing how far you've come. One of the coolest aspects of my healing journey was when I got to a certain point where I could look back and be like, oh my gosh, I'm dealing with a trigger that would have ruined me. a year ago. But today I'm responding and I understand that it's just a trigger and that I'm going to get through it and that everything's going to be okay. And being able to look at that and feel yourself, be proud of yourself for reacting to your circumstances different. I saw a tweet the other day that hit me so hard. It like resonated so deeply with me. And it said, your reality is a product of your response to it. So how you respond to your reality is what you create more of. If you respond with anger and frustration and resentment and denial, then you are going to experience more of those things. If you respond with, in your immediate future, you have practiced gratitude. If you respond with gratitude, if you respond with excitement, if you respond with hope and faith, if you respond with good feeling energy, you are going to attract good feeling things. If the Pisces in this reading have not read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, then I highly recommend doing that. And if you have read it, I highly recommend rereading it. I reread it after I went through a little dark night of the soul energy, and wow, it almost brought me back to remembering why I started a spiritual journey in the first place. So I feel like it could definitely help some of the Pisces out there. Okay, immediate future for Pisces, clarifying, practice gratitude with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. All right. Do not look to your material world to find fulfillment, Pisces, because you will not find it there. King of Pentacles in reverse, Four of Swords, and Seven of Swords with the Three of Wands in reverse. You have no idea how much is hidden from you about your future. You have no idea what's possible. You have no idea what's available to you, because right now you're focusing so much on the 3D world, on the 3D environment. Now, going back to what I said, your 3D environment is merely a product of your past thoughts and beliefs. Therefore, your 3D environment does not matter at all, because the only thing that matters is how you are responding to it. And you can choose to respond to it with faith. You know, I saw there's a quote by, I think, Wayne Dwyer, I think is the name, that says, peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is and not as you think it should be. Because the whole idea of a spiritual journey is faith, right? Is realizing that the universe has your back and is constantly leading you to what it is that you want. Now, you have to believe that you deserve what it is you want in order to attract that into your life. And in order to believe that you deserve good things, you've got to go back to your past, and you've got to look into why losses have occurred so that you don't put that energy into new beginnings in your future. The universe will give you every single thing that you want and need, but it is first going to turn you into the person that can attract it, yes, absolutely, but also sustain it. Because if you bring fear and frustration into your abundance, you will manifest it away. You might have even watched that happen before. You could have had the life that you were looking for and you manifested it away. And that's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself for that, because all that means is that you've got to learn why you manifested it away in order to create better for yourself. And that's not for everyone. That's just for some people out there. But understand that what is meant for you will not and has not passed you. If you are wanting better for yourself, better is available. Just do not focus on your 3D environment, because there's so much more to the story than that. Your immediate future is a lot about reshifting your focus back to gratitude. You know, when I was at the absolute lowest point in my life, I was having to be like, I am grateful for the fact that I had food to eat today. I am grateful for the fact that I have a temperature controlled environment to sleep at night. I am grateful for the fact that I have shoes on my feet. Like, you know, sometimes when you're in the darkest parts of your life, you have to go back to the basics and remember that you do have things to be grateful for. Because the more that you can build on the little things you have to be grateful for, the more those little things become bigger things, and those things become bigger, and then it grows into having everything to be grateful for. It's funny, because when I first started a spiritual journey, I thought that I was searching for happiness. I thought I was searching for the ultimate happiness, the ultimate just ecstatic, you know, view on life. And what I've learned is that I was ultimately searching for peace. I was searching for certainty. I was searching for abundance that came in the form of, I know that my wants and needs are always going to be met and always going to be taken care of. And that belief within itself has truly made miracles happen in my life. And I say that to say, I wouldn't be telling you to look within if I didn't think that it was going to create better for yourself. I got back into tarot because I realized that my beliefs, it wasn't that they, I got rid of tarot because I thought that I had a dark night of the soul. Long story. But anyway, I got back into tarot because I realized that my personal truths, when I was able to truly internalize them, when they were able to become that 95% of me, they changed my reality. I manifested the love of my life. I'm back making money doing the thing I love. I'm back on my spiritual path. And every single day I wake up going, wow, what a great day, even if it looks exactly the same as the day before. And that level of gratitude and excitement for my life has completely changed what I attract. And I just feel like when I do these readings, I have a lot of people say, you have no idea what I'm going through. How can I practice gratitude when XYZ has happened to me? Well, I can't tell you that. I'm not here to say that I have all of the answers. I'm here to say what worked for me and what I've learned through my own spiritual journey, and how those points have aligned with some of the greatest philosophers of all time. It's really cool because the other day there was some level of me that I was meditating and I had this insight come through, and I'm not going to talk about it because it doesn't really relate to this reading. But then I got on YouTube later that day and I saw a video from Eckhart Tolle that he was talking about the exact same thing that I had just learned in my meditation. And I was like, this is so freaking cool, because I can now see the confirmation of my inner world being reflected back at me. And when you get to that point, guys, the freedom that comes with it is incredible. And it's really hard because it's the ego that gets in the way. Our ego wants us to believe that holding grudges and being angry and having control and wanting people to miss us and regret the way that they treated us, we think that that's what brings us happiness and fulfillment, when in reality it's not. It's being able to detach from it all and just enjoy the ebbs and flow of life. Immediate future for Pisces. And the way, gratitude is the antidote to absolutely everything in your life. Everything negative, fear, lack, frustration, always turn back to gratitude. The Four of Pentacles upright with okay. Those are both upside down. Four of Pentacles upright with the Ten of Swords in reverse. Your immediate future, you have the ability to build that foundation you're looking for. The Four of Pentacles, that's the foundation that I kept feeling in the material world. But understand that it starts within, that your emotions are creating the resistance for you, because you have a tendency to dwell on the negative. We all do. We're all human beings. We all have a tendency to dwell on the negative. But dwelling on the negative will not change your reality. Changing the way that you respond and truly go back to the basics. What you focus on is what you attract. If you focus on frustration, you will attract more frustration. I like this though, because this is healing. I see a lot of healing taking place in your immediate future, and understand that nobody can do the healing for you but you. Immediate future here for Pisces. The Empress in reverse with the Three of Swords in reverse. Interesting. Pisces. This is good, because that's another card for healing. But here's the thing. This is also a card for forgiveness. Oh, it's self-forgiveness. Because here's the thing, Pisces. You've had a tendency to not put your needs first. You've had a tendency to overgive and under-receive and accept that. You've accepted the bare minimum. And your immediate future is the healing of that. Is the healing of your tendency to accept the bare minimum and believe that it's all that you deserve, or even that's all that's available for you. I was stuck on a relationship for a really long time that I thought was the end all be all for me. We broke up, and for like a year and a half, I was like, nah, he's gonna come back, and it's gonna be good, because he's the only person that's ever gonna be able to make me feel fulfilled. And I mean, I watched tarot reading after tarot reading after tarot reading after tarot reading for a year, and then my dark night of the soul came. I had a huge perspective shift on life. I did so much healing. I was in and out of some really intense darkness, and eventually I found my way out of it, and I manifested the absolute man of my dreams, guys. I mean, this relationship that I'm in right now is better than I ever could have imagined a relationship being. And that's the whole thing with that 95% of us, is if we let ourselves only become a product of our experiences, we limit us to what we've experienced. We forget to know and to understand what's available to us because we think that what we've experienced is all there is. But there's so much more to this world to experience. And so we have to tap into that part of us and figure out what it is that's blocking us, what belief system is blocking us from having all that we want. All right, long reading. We're going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to start channeling some advice from Spirit. I have an actual advice card to pull at the very end. The information for that's in the description box below. Thank you so much, Pisces, for the support of my channel. I hope this reading helped, and I hope to see you guys back in future readings. All right, bye, Pisces.